Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another video of Be the Best DFS Daily Fantasy Sports Talk. My name is Bradford Best, and today is August 10th, 2016, and I will be going over my lineup strategy for FanDuel's main slate tonight. Last night was a bad night for me. Lineup put up 92 points. The only highlight of my lineup was Nelson Cruz. He got me 24 points. Estrada, he didn't really do too much, 27 points. It was just a bad overall night. I'm kind of in a slump right now in baseball, but last night is over with. Today is a new day, a new opportunity to try to be the best. So with that being said, I'm going to move on to today's slate and just give you my thoughts and ideas of who I like at different positions for my lineup tonight. All right, starting at the pitcher position. Tonight, I like Jason Hamill of the Chicago Cubs. He's priced at $9,000. I like Hamill because I feel that the win security is there. I'm confident that the Cubs can get the win going up against not too good Angels team. And the Angels, they're also throwing out a pitcher in Nolasco who's really not all that good. Hamill, he's been known to pitch pretty good at home. If you look at his game log, his last game, on August 2nd, he got 39 fantasy points. And the home game prior to that was July 27th, 51 fantasy points. The home game prior to that, July 16th, 48 fantasy points. So looking at his track record at home and considering the team that they're playing against, I really like Jason Hamill tonight. Like I mentioned yesterday, as far as the Angels lineup, Mike Trout, he's always a threat, to get a hit or get a home run or something like that. But outside of Trout, I don't really think there's too much to fear in the Angels lineup. If you look at other options at pitcher, the top price pitcher is Justin Verlander. I really don't. He's a good player, but I just don't want to go with him on the road against Seattle. I'd rather just save the 1,000 with Hamels, and hopefully I can get equal point production or not more. You also have Felix Hernandez. He's not the same player that he once was. And at 9,600, I just think he's an easy fade. Pomeranz, I don't really believe in him. He hasn't really shown much since he's got traded to Boston. He pitched pretty good while he was with San Diego, but since he's been with Boston, looking at his game log, the last game he had 30 fantasy points, which isn't too bad. But the game before that, he had 33, July 20th, 6. So Pomeranz, he's not really on my radar tonight. Also, the wind is supposed to be blowing out in Boston. So Pomeranz is not really a player that I'm looking at tonight. J.A. Happ, he could be interesting. He's a pretty good player. If you look at his game log, the last 3 games, August 4th, 45 fantasy points. July 30th, 63 fantasy points. And July 24th, 48 fantasy points. But the way the Tampa Bay Rays been hitting the ball, it kind of makes me sway away from him. I had Estrada last night, and it didn't work for me. So I think it might be similar results tonight. Tampa Bay, I guess they've been swinging the bats pretty good lately. And, J.A. Happ is just someone I'm a fade tonight. Also, Toronto is a small ballpark. So, I'm just going to fade him tonight. I could be wrong. Other than that, I think another play that I'll find very, very interesting tonight, I was strongly considering playing this guy at pitcher, Ian Kennedy for the Kansas City Royals. Kauffman Stadium being a pitcher's ballpark. Ian Kennedy, his last game at Tampa, he had 45 fantasy points. I think Kennedy is a good play. The White Sox, they aren't that good, but I just feel that Hamill is just a safer play and a better option with the win security. So Jason Hamill is who I like at pitcher for tournaments and GPPs tonight. All right, moving on to the catcher position. This is typically a position that I pay down for or do a punt play, if you will. And tonight, I'm going to pay down for it again. I like Stephen Vogt, if he starts for 2,600 of the Oakland Athletics. Vogt, he has 9 home runs on the season. He'll be facing Gallardo for the Baltimore Orioles, and he have a good history against him. If I'm not mistaken, he's 3 for 6 with 1 career home run. And, Oakland is a pitcher's park, but the wind is supposed to be blowing out towards right center. And, I think Stephen Vogt is in a good position, to put up some nice numbers tonight. August 8th, a couple nights ago when I had him, he came through for me. Got 31 fantasy points. So if he starts, I think Stephen Vogt is a great value play or punt play at the catcher position tonight. Other options other than Stephen Vogt, let's see. I think Evan Gattis could be in play, considering the weather conditions in Minnesota. The wind is supposed to be blowing out to left field. Jonathan Lucroy in a lefty versus righty matchup in a not too good pitcher in De La Rosa for Colorado. I think Salvador Perez, if you're a big fan of BVP statistics, he could be a great play tonight for Kansas City. The wind's supposed to be blowing out to left field. It's a lefty versus righty matchup. And let me read off Perez. He's batting .353 with 2 career home runs against Quintana, the pitcher for the White Sox. Another good BVP statistic guy, Victor Martinez versus Felix Hernandez. Find that. He's batting .333 with 1 career home run. You could also consider Russell Martin, lefty versus righty matchup in a small ballpark, going up against Snell. And that's about all I see tonight for the catcher position. And, it's not a position I'm going to spend up for. So for now, I'm going to punt at that position. I like Stephen Vogt for the Oakland Athletics for $2,600. Moving on to the next position. This is probably not a good move to do, but, I just try to be different and try to be contrarian. I'm paying down for first base. As you know, first basemen, they always have a lot of good options. But, I'm going to try paying down for it. And who I like at first base is Yadier Alonso for the Oakland Athletics. This is mainly a BVP move. Let's find it. He's batting .364 with 1 career home run versus Gallardo for the Baltimore Orioles. A lefty versus righty matchup with the wind supposedly blowing out to right center field. Alonso, he had the night off yesterday, so he's got some fresh legs. On the season, he hasn't shown too much power, only 5 home runs. But, at a price tag of $2,400, I'm not expecting that much out of him. I think it'd be great if he have a good game. He definitely will be low owned. So Alonso is who I like at first base for the Oakland Athletics for $2,400. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend that you pay down for first base with all the options that's on the board. That's just what I'm doing. I'm just sharing my strategy with you guys. But at first base, if you're not paying down, I think Miguel Cabrera for the Detroit Tigers is a great play because Felix Hernandez, he just hasn't been pitching good lately. And Cabrera, he has a good batting average versus Hernandez. Anthony Rizzo, definitely a great play. High price tag, $4,600. He has a good history versus Nolasco. Let me look it up. In 7 at-bats, I believe, he's batting .429 with 1 career home run. Definitely Big Papi, David Ortiz. Wind's supposed to be blowing out in Boston. You can also play Edwin Encarnacion, lefty versus righty matchup, small ballpark in Toronto. You're just going to have to get them at a premium price tag. I'm not on Freddie Freeman tonight. How he disappointed me on last night. I think a great value play tonight would be Hanley Ramirez at 3,200. I'm not sure how his wrist injury is affecting him, but if he's healthy enough and if he plays, I think he's a great play. Good batter versus pitcher statistics versus Evoldi. Where is it at? He's batting .421 with 1 career home run. And I forgot what the sample size was, but Hanley Ramirez, I think he's a great player at first base. He hit 3 home runs in a game last month in Boston with the wind blowing out. He could definitely be a great play. I'm just kind of going away from him because they say he's coming off a wrist injury, so I'm not sure how much that impacts his swing. And just going through the player pool. And that's about all I see at first base. So again, my lineup strategy for right now is early in the day. It's shortly after 2 o'clock. But I like Yadier Alonso at first base. But I think the top plays, the guys who are likely to get a home run tonight, would be Anthony Rizzo and Edwin Encarnacion. And I think Hanley Ramirez is a great value play. But if you want those top guys, you're going to have to pay a premium price for them and, kind of find a way to fit them in your lineup. Okay, moving on to the next position. I really didn't analyze this position much. This is one of them guys that I feel like it's a lot for my lineup and who I definitely want to play tonight. And that's Brian Dozier for the Minnesota Twins. It's a lefty versus righty matchup going up against Dallas Keuchel. The weather conditions are supposed to be conducive to right-handed power. According to Roto Grinders, the wind's supposed to be like 11 miles per hour going to left field. Dozier hit a home run on last night, and also he has a good history versus Keuchel. Let's look it up real quick. In 11 at-bats, he's batting .455 with 1 career home run against Keuchel. And Dozier, he's known to be a streaky player. Being the fact that he homered last night, that increases my confidence in picking him. I look at the last time that he homered, it was between August 2nd and August 4th. He had homered in 3 straight games, 1 home run each one of those days. So when I consider the fact that he homered last night, he has a good matchup. The weather conditions are conducive for home run hitting, and he's playing at home. And also a good price tag of $3,300. Dozier is probably my favorite play in my lineup tonight, and that's who I'll likely use at the second base position. Other options other than Dozier, I think Logan Forsythe could be a good play. He hit a leadoff home run on last night. He's in a lefty versus righty matchup tonight, so he could get a home run. Matt Carpenter for the St. Louis Cardinals. He has a good history versus the pitcher for Cincinnati, Descalafani. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but his history, he has at least 1 career home run. I'm not sure how many at-bats. Altuve, always stick him in there if you can afford it. He definitely has high upside with the stolen bases, the hits, the extra base hits. And maybe Devin Travis, lefty versus righty matchup. He's been leading off the last few games. Decent price of $3,000. And I think looking at it, I think Tim Beckham for the Tampa Bay Rays could be a good sneaky play based on his BVP statistics versus Hap. I wrote that down also. Beckham. He's batting 400 with one career home run. I believe the sample size is 10 at bats. So at 2,700, he could be a good sneaky play if you want to go that route. But like I said, I didn't really look too much into this position. And Brian Dozier at 3,300, he's my favorite player at second base. He's also a player with who could hit 2 home runs in a game at any given moment. So I like Dozier at that price at second base. Moving on to the next position at third base, I like Kyle Seager. He got a big 3-run homer on last night. Tonight he's going up against Justin Verlander of the Detroit Tigers. Verlander is a good pitcher. And, I think Verlander, he's not the kind of pitcher that's going to back down from anyone. So, Kyle Seager, he has a good history versus Verlander. Wrote that down. I believe the sample size is 12 at-bats, but he's batting 500 with 2 career home runs. It's a lefty versus righty matchup. He's at home, coming off the game from last night when he hit the big 3-run homer. And also at a decent price tag of $3,300. I really like Kyle Seager tonight at third base. Other options that you can consider: Chris Bryant, of course. Manny Machado, he's in a lefty versus righty matchup, so he could be good. Donaldson could also be good. He let me down on yesterday. It's a lefty versus righty matchup, but an interesting point that I saw yesterday when I was watching Roto Grinders, Josh Donaldson, he has 0 home runs this season against left-handed pitchers at home. I found that amazing because he's a lefty killer, but apparently all the home runs he hit off of lefties this year has been on the road. So you can take that little note however you want to take it, but Donaldson could be a good play. Arenado, I think he's a good option. Longoria, lefty versus righty matchup, in a small ballpark in Toronto. Beltre, lefty versus righty matchup also. Good hitting park in Texas. And I think that's about all I see at third base as far as the top options. But for me, I like Kyle Seager, at his price. And when I consider, he hit a big home run on last night, and also his history versus Justin Verlander. So Kyle Seager is that guy for me at third base. Moving on to shortstop, didn't really analyze this position too much because I really didn't see a lot of players who had that power potential. But my favorite play at the shortstop position for tonight is Troy Tulowitzki for the Toronto Blue Jays at 3,100. If you look at the shortstop position, the top players who's known to have the most power is Xander Bogaerts, Carlos Correa, Brad Miller. I think they could all be possibly good plays, especially Correa, when you consider what the weather is supposed to be like in Minnesota. Bogaerts too, because the wind's supposed to be blowing out to center at Fenway tonight. But, I like Tulowitzki. I used him last night. He didn't do too much. But Toronto is a small ballpark. Lefty versus righty matchup. Decent price. I really like Tulowitzki. At shortstop, you're not going to find too many players, too many big-time home run hitters. So, there could be other options. Maybe Peralta, but Tulowitzki, he's that guy for me. On the season, he has 18 home runs, so he does have, the home run potential. And when I consider the ballpark, the lefty versus righty matchup, and the price point, Tulowitzki is definitely my favorite place tonight at the shortstop position. And moving on to the last position, the outfield position. One outfielder that I really like tonight, it's mainly a BVP pick, is Adam Jones of the Baltimore Orioles. he has a good history versus Detweiler. Let me look it up. He's batting .385 with one career home run. I believe the sample size is somewhere between 10 and 20 at bats. But, I love, looking at BVP statistics. And, I just think Adam Jones, he typically bats lead off in the order. That gives him more opportunities to come up to the plate. Surprisingly, he only has one stolen base this year, but, that's okay when I consider, this matchup. Lefty versus righty, wind's supposed to be blowing out in Oakland. I like Adam Jones tonight as one of my outfield positions. The other outfielder I like is another BVP pick, is Matt Kemp from my hometown team, the Atlanta Braves, at 3,800. Wrote that down. Kemp. His career history against Chase Anderson, he's batting .429 with one career home run. The sample size is somewhere between 10 and 20 at bats, but I like Kemp tonight. I think he's a player that often goes overlooked. Miller Park is supposed to be a hitter's park, so Kemp at 3,800. That's another player. That's a player I like at the outfield position tonight. And the last player that I like at the outfield position would be Miguel Sano of the Minnesota Twins. This is just a gut move, a gut pick right here. I have a gut feeling he's gonna hit a home run tonight. He hit one last night. It's a lefty versus righty matchup, and as I mentioned earlier in the video, the wind is supposed to be blowing out to left field. I really like Sano tonight. He definitely is one of those players who has a lot of power. 19 home runs on the season, playing at home. Kaichu, he's known to not pitch as well on the road as he does at home. So I like Sano at 3,600. Now, he doesn't have a good history against Kaichu. I believe he's faced him like 6 times, and he may only have like one hit, or he might not have any. I can't remember exactly. But being that he homered on last night, lefty versus righty matchup, the weather conditions conducive to right-handed power, Miguel Sano is that player that I like tonight. And I'll just go over any other outfielders that I think I should mention tonight. Definitely Mookie Betts. Always, if you can fit him in your lineup, go ahead and do it. He leads off. He got home run potential, stolen base potential. Definitely consider him. Jackie Bradley Jr. I think he's a good play tonight also. Playing at home at Fenway. He has home run potential as well as stolen base potential. Mark Trumbo, I thought about him today, but he's just been in a major slump. He's been stuck at 30 or 31 home runs for like a couple weeks. He's seemingly in a good spot, but it seems like every time I pick him, he don't do anything. And he's in a slump, so I'm kind of staying away from him and trying to target players who are hitting good. Jay Bruce is also another good play at 3,600. He's 1 for 3 versus, I believe the pitcher name is Robbie Ray, with one career home run. Lefty versus righty matchup. He's also a threat to hit 2 home runs at any given game. So Jay Bruce could be a great play. Andrew McCutchen, if he plays, he could be a decent play. He has a lot of career at bats versus the pitcher for San Diego. Edwin Jackson. I wrote it down. He's batting .419 with 3 career home runs, but it's like a large sample size. But McCutchen's a player that tends to get forgotten about, but he still got some talent, and he could be a great tournament play because of low ownership. And that's like about the main players I see at the outfield position. And to recap my lineup strategy for tonight, I like Jason Hamill for pitcher for the Chicago Cubs. I feel confident in the win security. I feel it's a safe play with possible high upside. He can get in the 40 fantasy point range, maybe more. Paying down for catcher with Stephen Vogt, good history versus the pitcher. The wind's supposed to be blowing out at their stadium. Taking a risk and doing this by paying down at first base. Again, I wouldn't recommend that you do it. I'm just doing it because I'm just trying to be completely different. And I got Yadier Alonso right there. Second base, I love Brian Dozier. Probably my favorite play tonight out of all positions. Third base, Kyle Seager. He's my favorite play. Hit a home run last night. Good history versus Justin Verlander. Shortstop, not a lot of players with a lot of power. Tulowitzki, decent price point at $3,100. Probably going to lock him in. The outfielders, two of my main outfielders was strictly based on BVP statistics, Adam Jones and Matt Kemp. And I just had a gut feeling about Miguel Sano. One other outfielder that I want to mention is Billy Hamilton. This guy, he's been stealing bases like crazy. I was looking at his game log. Let me go to it real quick. There you go. Billy Hamilton, 3,300 of the Cincinnati Reds. His last 3 games, he got 9 stolen bases combined. He's obviously a great player, the best base runner in the MLB. At 3,300, I guess he could be a good play, but I just can't get along with just picking a player and depending on stolen bases. I just believe he's not that good of a hitter, so if he don't get on base, he can be a complete bust. I look more for the home run upside, but Hamilton is he's a unique player. You pick him looking for the stolen base upside. So if you're down with depending on stolen bases to get you some points, I say Hamilton is a great play at the outfield position. But I can't do that. I look for the home run hitters. So I just wanted to, mention him before I close out this video. He's a good play if you believe in the, depending on stolen bases to get your point total up. But that's about all I have for my lineup today. As always, I want to thank all the subscribers to this YouTube channel. I believe I got like 7 of them. Thank y'all for subscribing. Make sure you search the group on Facebook, #BeTheBestDFS. Thank everybody who's a part of the group. You can also look for me on Twitter, @BeTheBestDFS. Thank everyone who's following the Twitter account. And just thank everyone for the support and just, taking the time to watch these videos. Honestly, baseball, I've been struggling with it. But any one night could be a good night and you could, make a nice little come up. So I feel real confident about my lineup tonight. I think I'll be able to get a high point total and hopefully cash for, a good amount of money. And I hope y'all do the same as well. So again, thanks for checking out this video, and I'll leave y'all with what I always leave y'all with. Try to be the best tonight. All right, I'm out.